Orange and blue will try to take a stranglehold of the series in Los Angeles. We get you separate game 4 between the Oilers and the Kings on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the pregame show. Tom Gazzola, Shawn Belle with you. YouTube Trev holding things down back at ESTHQ, and an early Christopher Boyle big save of the game to one Matthew Bartholomew Awanek, who managed to get some technical difficulties sorted out. The man is a wizard, and we're glad that we have him on our team. So we are ready to rock. We're live on location, Hudson's White Avenue, and it's getting slowly. People are creeping in. It's a lazy Sunday, Bellsy.
Need people to get out of that lazy mindset.
Yeah, it was
raining.
We're
going to need you to get amped up here because the Oilers are about to go up
3-1.
3-1.
Ooh, we're going to tell you why that we think that that's going to happen as Edmonton coming off a big win in game number 3. Of course, come on down to Hudson's White Avenue. It is the EST watch party. The whole crew from EST is going to be coming by. Zach Nickum's already here. Jay and Andrew is already here. Michelle, Whitney, and Kat drove all the way up from Calgary. A big shout out to them. We've got backs over there. Look at that. My brother's going to be here in a little bit. Man. So it should be a good time down here at Hudson's White Ave. They've got 6 o'clocker lager available in cans, obviously. And I've got a lot of GCs to dish out. We've got some swag, and good times will be had. And if Belzy's right, Edmonton goes up 3-1. GCL Diesel, by the way, presenting sponsor of the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show, Edmonton's diesel fuel system specialist and providers of critical engine components for over 50 years. Get in on the conversation. Join it by texting us 780-218-9999. And then, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, hello. How are you? Thank you. Hit the thumbs up on your way in, and you could get into the nasty chat. So, Belzy, the Oilers lead this series, and I'll start with the question of the night. I'll put it to you first. Yep. YouTube Trev's not feeling too great, so he's battling through. Oh, yeah, VR Montenegro and his lovely wife Ginger are also here. I forgot to mention that. Yeah,
they did get GCs.
They'll get some.
We'll
they know where the good stuff is. They know where the good stuff is. Okay, so question of the night. I'm going to put it out there to everyone watching and listening, and then you're going to kick it off. Trev is battling through a cold. Trev also gets Chris Boyle, big save of the game. Shout out.
Battling? Never mind. Sorry. Sorry. No, we're not going to do that today.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that today.
We're not doing that. We did talk about it a little bit on Hello Hockey.
Oh,
it did. Okay, the question of the night is this: what has surprised you most so far about this series between the Oilers and the Kings? Belzy, I'll let you take the floor first.
Well, the biggest surprise is that LA, you lived and died by the sword last year, meaning you tried to get physical with the Oilers.
Yep.
They beat you on the power play.
Yep.
And now here we are again. They're beating you on the power play. Stay out of the box. And because that's all the Oilers are going to do. They have the horses that they can play that way if they want to. We've already seen it.
Right.
Last game was very much like that. But if you want to beat the Oilers, you just need to play hockey. You can't try to drag them in a street fight, because if you take penalties, well, unfortunately, you've got a lethal unit.
And the street fight thing for the Kings, I mean, they don't have...
It's not working out very well.
They don't have the same type of muscle that the Oilers have.
Nope.
And I don't think Edmonton's a particularly tough, quote-unquote, team, but they have some guys that will mess you up.
Yep. And that's, right now, that's one of the biggest things that I'm seeing in this series. Like, outside of the Oilers having that little bit of a lull in game 2, they've controlled the play for the most part.
Yeah.
So what is LA going to do to get back into the series? Because if the Oilers play their game, they've already proven over basically the course of the series that they're a step above LA. And so now you go in and you're going to, I have to try to drag you into this. I need to scrum it up after every single whistle. I need to get your stars off their game, but guess what? They're not.
It's not
They're
working.
not off their game. It's almost like they've grown. There's experience now.
A maturation process has occurred.
Yeah.
Are we saying that?
It's almost like that.
Listen, it's 3 games in. Edmonton's wins have been significant ones. 7-4, obviously, with a couple of cheapies that went in, but they all count. And then the 6-1 drubbing the other night. And then, obviously, LA wins 5-4 in OT in game number 2. Edmonton's 7 for 14 on the power play, right? And that's out of the 17 goals they've scored in this series. It's pretty lethal. And the Kings, the other thing, too, is if they're trying to drag the Oilers into a street fight, and they're the ones ending up on the PK, are they relying too much on the PK, which was second in the league during the regular season?
I know it's good, but
it's getting decimated right now.
Let's be honest. You don't play games with Connor McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, Hyman, and Draisaitl. You don't play that game with them. You don't say I'm gonna trade off power play versus PK, even though you're one of the best teams. Like even on the defensive end, their 1-3-1 has stymied teams all year. But right now, if you watch one of the prime plays that I remember from the last game was when they kicked it off to the side. I think it was Bouchard move it to Leon.
Yes,
he waited for the right hand player on the 1-3-1 to step up. He chips it off the wall to Kane. Kane goes flying in, and they scored. And so it's almost like they figured out how to break the 1-3-1. So you're going to have to get creative because right now the Oilers are hitting you with speed. And when they dump the puck in and you're that last defenseman on the 1-3-1, who usually is that right-handed defenseman,
right?
Who, if you look at it, are their best players and their most skilled. Well, all the Oilers are doing is they're just dumping it in and they're just running that guy. So you're actually putting your best players in a spot where they're consistently getting hit and they're getting slowed down. So it's making it hard for them. So right now the Kings are going to have to figure out something a little bit different to change up their strategy.
Is it too late to change up the strategy? We were talking about this a little bit with Gager on the post game on Friday night because he says, how do you switch it up on the fly like this? I mean, we're a player, you're a coach, you're a GM now. Can you get a team to switch up and get away from this 1-3-1 that guys from the Kings were talking about yesterday? They've been doing for the last 4 years and committed to so hard.
Yeah, I mean it'll be hard, but if you want to live another day in the playoffs, or if you want to get to the next round, you're going to have to do something.
What would you recommend?
That part, I don't know.
Okay,
because right now
that's Jim Hiller's.
That's a Jim Hiller situation, and he's a smart guy. He's figured it out. Like that's for him to decide. But I'm just sitting here saying that you're going to have to attack the Oilers maybe a little bit more. Maybe you're going to have to try to force them to the outside. Maybe you're going to have to collapse more at the net front in the D zone. You're going to have to do something to slow these guys down because what is transpiring right now, it's not good enough.
From a Kings point of view, 100%. And then if you're the Kings, are you just hoping Edmonton shows up and lays an egg like they did in game 2? Because that was I don't want to say dud performance because they clawed their way out of a couple of holes, but Edmonton wasn't sharp in game 2.
They weren't sharp, but I mean, realistically, how many minutes do you think it was that they weren't good?
I'd say for sure the first 10 minutes.
Okay, so the first 10 minutes, and you can
maybe
argue
second period lull.
Another 15.
Okay, yeah, 15.
Okay, so
this is game 2.
So half of the game in game 2, they weren't at their best, and yet we're in a game right now where it's a 1-goal game.
Right.
They're fighting back and forth. The Oilers are able to claw back into it. To me, that's a tough situation for LA because you know that you've thrown the kitchen sink at these guys and they just keep playing. And this is something that has become synonymous with the Oilers is that they have figured out we just play the way that we play and we continue to do it, and we'll claw back into games. And that's part of the experience factor, that stuff that they learned from when they played, Vegas last season.
Yeah,
when
good point.
Knoblauch came in. That's something that is definitely been evident since he's been coach. So there's a lot of really good things to like about the Oilers. And for the Oilers, you just got to make sure that you don't go sleepy. You have to put that pedal to the metal for the entire game because you are a step above.
I agree with that.
Don't come down to their level. Don't get content. Don't get complacent. Just play the game and go out and do what you're doing because that is what's going to be successful.
It's been working so far. Edmonton leads the series 2-1. Question of the night one more time. Belsey and I went over it already. What has surprised you most so far about this series? Text us 780-218-9999 and then via the nasty chat. I saw the nasty chat humming along nicely. What do we got here? I worry about the big wins with the Oilers, says Emma Terry. Box Pounder says 8-time in NHL history. What are we talking about? Quite the comeback tonight from the Canucks. The Canucks were down when I left to come down here to Hudson's, and they win 4-3 in OT. Whew. 3 other games on the sked.
Just pesky.
5-1 Colorado over Winnipeg. Colorado was humming in that game.
Yes.
And it just seems like the Jets didn't have an answer. And then 2-1, the Rangers currently lead the Caps. Could the Caps be the first team eliminated? Likely.
It's looking that way.
13 minutes left, second period.
The Rangers are pretty formidable, so it's tough to overcome those guys.
Pretty good. Smitty the Welder getting at me here. I like this. Tommy, when does Campbell get a start? LOL. Oh, Smitty, you're in fine form on this Sunday. Jack Campbell has been recalled from Bakersfield along with Broberg. It was Broberg that they called up as well. The Condors have been eliminated from the playoffs. They were eliminated by the Ontario Reign last night. And Ryan Holt from the Condors play-by-play team will be joining us later on in the show. We're also going to get Dennis Bernstein on here in about 10 minutes' time. DB is our Kings insider. We'll get his take. He doesn't hold back. You know DB.
Oh, yeah.
You know DB. He doesn't hold back at all. So we're going to get him on here. And then Dazzler texting in says, let's go, boys. On the road to Lethbridge. LFG. I like that. You like how I figured that out?
Just found the new settings on this. Oh, that's awesome.
Rip City Step says, Tommy letting those buttons breathe. Yeah. I went with the collar
Let
today.
them pop, buddy. Let that chest hair percolate.
Yeah, well, it's there.
Yeah,
it's there. You don't want to see none of that. You don't want to see none of that. All right, 780.
People have spoken, buddy. They do want to see that.
218-9999. Question of the night. What has surprised you the most so far about this series? Let's go to starting lineups. For the Oil, there is a tweak to the lineup tonight. Tell me if you can catch it. You'll catch it right away. McDavid between Henrique and Hyman, Draisaitl centering Nugent-Hopkins and Kane, Fogle and Perry flanking Ryan McLeod, Dylan Holloway and Matthias Janmark with Derek Ryan down the middle. No Sam Carrick tonight. Matthias Ekholm paired up with Bouchard, Nurse with CC Kulak with Desharnais. If you were in Chris Knoblauch's shoes and you're getting the veteran Derek Ryan in there for Sam Carrick, what do you think the rationale would be?
Just a smart player, can kill penalties. He does a really good job. He's very level-headed. And maybe it's just time to get him in. That's really what it is. I mean, he sat for 2 games. You never want to truly see 3 games, sorry. You never want to truly see guys that should be in the lineup have to sit for too long. So he's in the lineup tonight.
Here he goes. He's a little bit of a different player than Carrick. Carrick a little bit more sandpaper than Ryan.
He's got a little bit more sandpaper, but Ryan's an extremely smart player, and he's figured out a way to play in the NHL. He's figured out a way to be a factor when he plays. He can go up and down your lineup. He's a great player, and I don't think there's going to be much of a drop-off between Ryan and Carrick. Okay. I just think it's a situation where, okay, I need to get this guy in to make sure that he's ready down the road.
No issue. I'm Derek Ryan, Sam Carrick, whatever works. I think those guys are both valuable players in their roles. So we'll see Derek Ryan in tonight, Sam Carrick taking a seat. As for the Los Angeles Kings tonight, Anze Kopitar between Quinton Byfield and Adrian Kempe. Man, I really like Quinton Byfield. I think he's going to be a hell of a player. Starting to show some good signs for sure. Philip Deneau between Trevor Moore and Victor Arvidsson. Blake Lizotte with Kevin Fiala and Trevor Lewis. And I got these lines from Zach Dooley, who's the Kings reporter. He's got Pierre-Luc Dubois up the 4th line center position with Carl Grundstrom and Alex Laferriere. I've liked Laferriere. Mm-hmm. I thought he was very physical in game number 2.
He was fairly physical last game.
Yeah, too. That's right. But he's kind of been up and down. So Jim Hiller's trying something. Maybe he figures there's a combination here that kind of helps the Kings break through.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Pierre-Luc Dubois has not performed at all, so he's being relegated based on his play. I mean, there's no bones about it. Like, I'm sorry, but you got thrown around by
Evan
Bouchard, and that has nothing really to do with the play. It's the whole fact of, like, have you decided to show up, or are you still, like, your legs are still kicking up on the beach right now? Because you guys are in a series.
Like it's the case.
And we need all hands on deck. And I'm sorry, but, like, come on, Dubois.
I made the comment, like, don't wake him up, because when he wants to be, he's an effective player. And then I think it was DB was like, there's no waking him up.
He woke up for one shift. He chased Connor McDavid, and he kept up with him, and he stripped the puck. One shift, and that was in game 1 or 2.
That's not good
And
enough,
then
man.
since then, he's put that blanket right back over his body, put his head down on that pillow, and here we are.
That's not good. Not enough from a
If you're
guy
the
that got a
Kings,
big ticket.
I think you're really disappointed in his play.
100%. Kings defense for tonight. Mikey Anderson with Drew Doughty. Vladislav Gavrikov paired up with Matt Roy. And then Andreas Englund with Jordan Spence. Jacob Moverare is the extra defenseman available. Starting goalies for the Edmonton Oilers tonight, 25-year-old Stuart Skinner, 2-1 record, 331 GAA, 890 save percentage. So we're seeing those numbers get a little bit better. The GAA goes down. The save percentage goes up, creeps its way closer to 900. And that's through this postseason. Lifetime in the playoffs, Skinner, a 7-7 record, 360 goals against average, 885 save percentage, 15 career games played. Here's a bit of a different one. The LA Kings going to Big Save Dave, David Riddick, the 31-year-old, getting the start tonight. 13-6-3 record in the regular season, 215 goals against average, 921 save percentage, 3 shutouts, Belsey, in 24 regular season games. Lifetime in the postseason, limited experience, 0-2 record, 15.17 goals against
Did he
average.
happen to play against a certain team
Uh,
that led to some of those numbers?
was he with them or had he been moved on from?
I think he was with them at that point.
Because maybe he was still in Calgary when that happened.
I'm pretty sure he was.
Ooh, 15-17 GAA, 636 save percentage, 2 career playoff games for Big Save Dave. I saw a text come in earlier, said he's got okay numbers against the Oilers. Well, lifetime versus Edmonton, through 13 games played, a 5-5-1 record, 273 GAA, 904 save percentage, 1 shutout versus the Oil. He is infamous for his stick flip back in the day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what caused the Oilers to be so pissed off.
Well, they remembered.
They remembered big time.
Mm-hmm. 780-218-9999. Get at us in the inbox. And if you're just tuning in on YouTube, join the conversation in the nasty chat. It is the Oil Stream pregame show live on location. Hudson's White Avenue. It will be the watch party. And, of course, the pregame and postgame show brought to you by GCL Diesel. Question of the night: what has surprised you most so far about this series? We will go into some text right away. We've got Dennis Bernstein from the fourth period coming up, our Kings Insider, in 5 minutes' time. And then we are going to go down to Bakersfield as well and hear from Ryan Holt, Bakersfield Condors play-by-play man. Penner's Pancake says, looks like Tommy's been working out. One vein popping in that right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Penner. Or I just buy a medium shirt.
Oh, yeah, he's shopping at Baby Gap. That's where he's going.
Yeah, exactly. But Penner's Pancakes, this was for you. Yeah, appreciate that very much. 6 o'clock or longer is available here at Hudson's White Ave as well. Can form, not on tap. Rip City Step says Draisaitl only celebrates goals scored against Riddick. And X-Ray J says Crack-a-lacka, 6 o'clock or longer. Let's go Oilers. Plumbing reality will prevent my attendance down to Hudson's on White. X-Ray J, you'll be here in spirit. And let's go to the text line. Let's go to this one. It says, if the Kings wanted to win tonight, they should have called on Brett Kissel, not David Riddick.
Boy.
Oh, the Kissel.
I'm not doing that again today.
We talked about on Hello Hockey. Yep. We got through it. This one from John of St. Albert says, should the city and OEG ban the wholesale at the 2 outdoor watch parties because of too many fights and unruly fans? John of St. Albert.
It's going to start going that way if people aren't careful.
I did not follow up on Yegwave. Was it getting rowdy again?
There was a couple tilts. Yeah, you better be careful because they will take that away from you pretty quick.
They did last year, and it was very sparsely attended, and then kind of opened it back up. So dum-dums full of alcohol are going to be dum-dums fueled up.
100%.
What happened to everybody love everybody?
I mean, I want to sit here and say, hey, we never did that when we were young, but because let's be honest, lots of young people do that stuff. Yeah. But at the same time, if you're trying to create this watch party and you want it to be something where a lot of people go, maybe you've got to increase the security. Maybe you've got to do something. I don't know what that looks like. I don't want to judge it. I don't want to say much to it. It's just, hey, we're all Oilers fans. So let's love each other. It's the playoffs. We're going on a special run.
All right. I like it. Very kind. That's very nicely done. Heartfelt,
Well,
Halsey. Very nice.
Got to be nice right now.
Yes, 780-218-9999. John of St. Albert, I'll tell you what, great alternative would be to come down to Hudson's White Ave tonight.
Yeah.
All right, YouTube Trev. See any other texts you want to get to there?
Nothing really.
Just give me a minute here. I got to get to YouTube Trev.
No, there's nothing too much right now, but it's starting to pick up a little bit down here. I'd like to see way more people. Let's get this place rocking. Could have 2 watch parties. Obviously, hey, we got a guest.
Oh, there he is, Lieutenant Eric. Oh, that's our boy. All right, it is the EST watch party here at Hudson's White Avenue. Okay, let's go to, you know what, we're going to go inside the locker room as we wait for Dennis Bernstein. We'll go to head coach Chris Knoblauch. YouTube Trip, if we could do that.
It appears as though Derek Ryan's going to draw in. Just maybe a thought on sort of that change to the lineup and what you're hoping to see out of Derek Ryan.
I think both players give us a different element. I think they're both very good hockey players. Both have been playing really good last couple weeks. Just feel it maybe gives us a little more energy, fresh legs. That's all. I think either one of them. But, yeah. So anyways, Derek is playing tonight. And Derek has been playing very well for us the past couple months. And it was difficult not having him in the lineup, but he will be playing tonight.
There's an old saying, you don't mess with a winning lineup. Your penalty killing's gone 10 for 10, and Carrick's been part of that. Does that sort of get weighed into when you're making a decision like that? It can't be an easy decision. You're coming off a 6-1 win.
Absolutely. And we think of their role has been very similar. They're going to be our fourth-line centerman. The penalty kill, they'll be taking those face-offs, and but they can also play, typically the same amount of minutes, same kind of role. And we just feel that we'll make that one adjustment.
Chris, it sounds like they're going to change their goalie and go with Dave Riddick tonight. Does that make any difference to your group at all?
The most important thing is how we play, how we respond. From our last game, obviously, we would like to continue winning and really get a big lead on this in the series. We have noted some tendencies of how he plays and where he could be vulnerable, maybe exposed. But, that might give us a little bit of advantage on the shooters. But both their goalies are very capable, good quality goaltenders. We need to play our best.
And this is a big swing game, obviously, Game 4. You guys get to. It's kind of a do-over for you guys after Game 1. What did you learn in Game 2 that you could maybe use coming off a big win in Game 3?
I think the biggest thing is how the series has gone. You look at the team that's come out with a strong first period has come out with all these wins. That's no secret us losing in the Game 2. After the first period, it was 3-1, and it was, we were able to tie it up later, but it just makes our job a lot harder. And I think it'd be very important that we were ready to go in the first period. With them being down a game in their building, we're expecting their best. They've been playing so well at home. They've responded well. We have to be ready to play at a very high level.
Chris, just to confirm, Ryan in for Carrick, is that the only lineup change that you're going to make tonight?
That is.
Okay. The special teams on both sides, penalty kill and power play, have been very good for you. Can you explain kind of the value of special teams in the playoffs? Like, we tend to think that there are fewer penalties called. Is it just, does that kind of make it more important than maybe even the regular season?
Well, so far in this series, and maybe across the league, I'm not sure, but probably in ours, I think we've actually seen more power plays per game than in the regular season. And it's a small sample; it's only 3 games, but it's so competitive. It's such a fine line from winning and losing. It usually comes down to a special team goal, and fortunately, so far, we've done well in that aspect, and something that we've taken a lot of pride in. especially the second half of the season, with our penalty kill and our power play contributing to a lot of our success. And going forward in the playoffs, whether this is game 4 or whatever it is, game 5, special teams are always a key, very important part of the game.
Zach Hyman called after game 3 like the penalty kill, like the story of the series. He in his mind, he talked about the penalty killing, maybe adjustments, and with Mark Stewart coming in and really kind of revamping that early. There's a little bit of a dip and seems to come back. What maybe has changed over the last little while to get you guys maybe back to the spot we were maybe in November, December there?
I think the complete team commitment, the guys who are killing, really being connected, of when one guy is protecting, one guy's striking, being aggressive, and reading off each other. I think that's been really important. Goaltending is always the biggest aspect of a successful penalty kill. And the other one is something that doesn't get talked about enough, is on penalty kills how important it is to get your clears. I know as our power play unit loves it when the opposition doesn't get the puck out, because you get a second opportunity, but you also get the penalty killers who are tired and not as sharp and not as aggressive, so that you can capitalize. And I think our guys have done a really good job on making the appropriate play, whether it's a hard rim or a share, a short pass, to get those clears.
All right, there was Chris Knoblauch as his team prepares for Game 4, looking to take a 3-1 series lead. All right, Dennis Bernstein standing by. But before we get to DB, our Kings Insider, I have to mention portions of this hour brought to you by 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Catch Dusty Nielsen with Yukon Jack and Scott McCord weekday mornings, and then tune into Jess Jackson on your drive home from work every afternoon. All right, he is our boy, Dennis Bernstein, live from Crypto.com Arena. DB, I brought Belsey. He's with me here at Hudson's White Avenue. Our boy, there we go. What's going on? What's the vibe in LA like going into this one?
Are you getting ready for a Vancouver-Edmonton second round?
Maybe.
We got to knock on wood
knock
after that.
on wood, DB.
Yeah, it's not as chipper as it was before Game 3 here in Los Angeles. And
oh boy,
I know Belsey's a football guy. So are you, Tom. So you're even, with respect to the passing game. It's 10-10, but you gave something up on a kickoff return, so it's 17-10, right? 5-on-5, each team has scored 10 goals, 7-0 on the power play in favor of the Edmonton Oilers. The one area that you knew was going to be an issue, that you needed to improve, and they haven't, and that's why they're down 2-1. With really, look here, it's not a must-win because you won't be eliminated tonight, but it's a can't-lose game. They go back to Edmonton 3-1. The odds on extending the series are really small. So this has to be, without question, Tommy, their best game.
Hey, DB, I'm glad you mentioned the PK for the Kings and the Oilers power play, obviously going 50% through these first 3 games. What's going on with LA's penalty kill, or is it Edmonton just throwing some wrinkles that, LA didn't see during the regular season? How have you seen it?
I think it's just execution. The Kings give up seams on their 1-2-1, and Connor and Leon and, Nugent Hopkins hit those seams. It's as simple as that. It's about execution. Other teams can't execute the way the Oilers do at 5-on-4. It's as simple as that. It's not anything. And, Tom, it's too late, right? Like people say maybe change the look or whatever. It's too late. Now, if the same thing happens tonight, they got a shot because, remember, there's 2 days off between games 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. So maybe you could change something at a practice or some video work. One day practice on, on a Monday for a Tuesday game. But, it's going to be difficult. It's just that this is an exceptionally gifted Oilers power play. When you give them time and space, they make the passes. They click. They have their guys at the net. So but it's not a shock because we've all seen this for going on 3 seasons now. So it's a challenge for the Kings, and they just can't figure it out. And I just don't think there's enough time to change anything structurally with respect to the penalty kill. So the thing is, they can't go in the box. They can't take stupid penalties. They can't take holdings in the neutral zone. We'll see what happens in Game 4 in a couple hours.
Hey, DP, do you think Jim Hiller's telling them to be a little bit more disciplined? Don't try to suck the Oilers into taking any dumb penalties because the Oilers don't seem to be retaliating. Do you think that's part of the messaging?
It has to be, because you're going to go give the Oilers 2 5-on-3s in any period. I don't care if the game's over already. You're going to score. Right? And emotionally, that it's tough because the game was over. but they keep scoring power play goals. You're saying, like, how are we ever going to stop this machine with the extra man? So that's the one thing. So, yeah, they have to be far more disciplined. If the scoring chance, if it's Connor or Kane or somebody at the front of the net and you want to grab the guy and haul him down, that's great. But, neutral zone stuff, the stuff after the whistle, they just can't afford. Look, they can see how the game's being called, right? And look, I'm not that guy, but the refs in the third period did a crappy job. Like it kind of detracted from the Oilers, win that they actually needed to have. So they have to see how they call the game, and maybe the refs are going to give these guys a little extra. Maybe you do that, but are you really going to intimidate Connor or Leon or any of these guys at this point? No. I don't think so. You got to play a smarter game. And that would be not taking these, neutral zone penalties or even the offensive zone, that little clutch, that little grab. You got to play a clean game if you're the Kings tonight when it comes to penalties.
DB, we've been talking about it at length. You've been alluding to it. The Kings are getting wrapped in the calls. So what are the Oilers doing that are causing the Kings to take so many penalties? This is not the first year, like you said. This is last year they lost purely because they took way too many penalties. So is there something that the Oilers are doing? Is this a situation where LA is just getting wrapped up into the quote-unquote magnitude of the series, being like, this is year 3, we've got to do something? Because to me, it doesn't make sense. You've got Hiller saying, stay out of the box. You've got every single fan across the world saying, stay out of the box. But yet here we are still having a parade to the box, and the Oilers are just saying, thank you, we'll continue to take more.
Belzy, I asked Hiller that post-game about have the Kings lost their composure? And he said no. I think so. Look, because his point was, at that point where all that stuff happened with England's hit on King, the game was over, right? No. It was 5-1, the game was over. So, but it's just that when you get beat on a play, like Connor and Leon and these guys can beat you on plays. It's as simple as that. So, and they're not the biggest team, Belzy. So you go into the net, you try to stop these guys, and if you're a Mikey Anderson or Jordan Spence, they're not the biggest guys in the world, so you have a tendency to clutch and grab at the net, and that's it. Now, the decision-making by, Fiala and Dubois haven't helped either. Huh. I go back to game 1. I get it. You're trying to do a little extra on Connor, maybe try to intimidate him, but you wind up in the penalty box. They wind up killing that penalty. But I just think they're not the biggest team in the world, right? They're trying to be a little bit more physical because all the Kings here is that there's not enough sandpaper. You're not big enough. So that maybe subconsciously, Belzy, that creeps into your mind. So maybe I want to try to do something in the net to help out my goaltender, but it's a situation where you get beat on plays and you grab and you clutch, and it's really hard to stop a really gifted offensive team. And subsequently, these guys go into the box, and they paid the price now for 3 playoff seasons.
Dennis Bernstein joining us now from Crypto.com Arena. DB, our Kings insider. You can catch him on the fourth period and a myriad of different outlets, Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio on the hot stove every Saturday morning as well. DB, all right, we're going to see David Rittich between the pipes. This one, you pointed it out, you tweeted it out earlier in the day. Are you surprised they're going to Rittich? And his playoff numbers aren't particularly great in very limited appearances. 2 games he's played in the postseason, a 15-17 GAA, .636 save percentage. Is just Hiller throwing something at the wall and hoping it sticks?
Tommy, that's a little worse than not particularly good.
You don't say.
He started 1 game in his career in the playoffs. He didn't make it out of the first period. He made it, I think, 15 minutes in, got 5 goals against. I have no problem with the move.
Okay.
Because Cam wasn't beating him. And is it a desperation move? No, because, again, what did I tell you to start the series? These are system goaltenders.
Yeah.
The system has to be better in front of these guys. Like, if the system was better in front of Cam, maybe they'd be up 2-1, and we wouldn't be having this conversation about David Rittich. No problem with it. His numbers were basically the same as Cam during the regular season. Is it a roll of the dice to put him in with no playoff experience? 100% it is. But I'm not going to second get this one because you are 2-1, down 2-1, and there's nothing you really else can do to change the dynamic other than change the goaltender. Right? Look, a couple like the Dylan Holloway goals, he should have stopped in Edmonton. Like the other night, Drew Doughty can't throw that pass to start the game. Like that's the first goal and leave Zach Hyman open alone in front of the net. It's going in the back of the net this season. So I have no problem with it. Are people going to second guess him if it's another 6-1 win? Of course they will. But I don't have a problem with it. The question is, if he doesn't win tonight, Rittich, what do you do for Game 5 in an elimination game?
Aaron Dell.
Okay. All right.
I'm kidding.
Eric Portillo. He's big. He's 6'6". Maybe bring him up from Ontario. But that's the question. And I think tonight it's just about resiliency. And if you watch game one, like you would have thought, okay, this might be a short series of sweep. Kings came back, played a really good game. They have to replicate game two. They got to check for their chances. They got to have no time and space in the neutral zone. And as we talked about for the last 10 minutes, can't go into the penalty box. It can't be a parade. Maybe 2 or 3, but not 5 or 6. You're asking for it if you do that against the UL, the way they're playing on the power play right now.
There was one other tweak to the lineup. Pierre-Luc Dubois moves down to the fourth line. Is that a message being sent to him to kind of wake up? Or is this just we're leaving it where it's at and other guys are being rewarded for their play like Lizotte?
If it's a message being sent, Belzy, it's like the 20th message that's been sent to Dubois this year. Like, it's just not good enough. And look, the people that try to put a positive spin on it, like saying, okay, he was acquired for game 83. He was acquired for the playoffs to give the Kings advantage down the middle with Kopitar and Janelle. But now 3 games in, it's the same as the first 82. It's disappointing. I don't know what to do. This worst was about maybe buying him out. But if you're the GM and the president that signed to the contract a year ago, can you really buy him out even though it's an advantageous buyout now? Belzy,
trade him to Calgary, DB.
Yeah, or you could trade him to Toronto for Mitch Marner.
Oh yeah, Belzy's loving that.
Except there's 1 year left on his deal and 7 left on Dubois' deal, but it hasn't been good enough. Belzy, he's earned the spot in the lineup. He could have been a difference maker. He hasn't been, so I can't blame him. So it's not a message being sent. It's about production. It's about the first 3 games. It's about not being an impact player. So, I mean, if he does stay in Los Angeles, I got to move him to wing next year because it just hasn't happened in the middle for him.
Wow.
That's tough.
DB,
go ahead. What are you expecting in game 4?
Well, the Kings got to come out hard in the first 10 minutes. They really do. They really got to try to get the first goal. They're a different team when they score the first goal. Now, granted, that's a cliche. It happens with a lot of teams. But if they can get the first goal, they can drop back into the 1-3-1, limit time and space. So that's what So I expect that they'll come out more aggressive. And really, it's a do-or-die game for this team, right? And like, again, if they go back to Edmonton down 1-3, they're not coming back. No. Well, they might come back, but they'll come back to play golf. So, again, this really needs to be their game 7 at this point in time. They have to be the more desperate team. And maybe Edmonton gets a little false sense of security, winning so easily in game 3. But I get the sense with a lot of pressure on in Edmonton as well. They're going to put the medal to the metal and say, if we can get this one and go home, we're going to have a short series and rest up for, the winner of Vancouver and Nashville, which looks like Vancouver right now.
Yeah. DB, all right, what we do know is that you're coming back for game 5, and I know I was under the weather and we couldn't get out for a bite to eat. When you come back this time, we're going, okay?
It's a deal, baby. We'll see you for game 5, and hopefully it won't be the last one of the series either.
Hey, maybe. We'll see. DB, good stuff as always. Thank you, my friend. Enjoy the game.
TG Belzy, thanks for the time on EST. I'll talk to you soon.
That's our boy, Dennis Bernstein, Kings Insider. Great stuff. Catch him the 4th period. Fantastic work. Sirius XM NHL Network Radio on the hot stove. And he's got a Kings podcast as well. I love Dennis Bernstein. Isn't he fantastic?
So truthful, right? Doesn't hold punches.
Nope.
It's great. He's a great dude.
Just a good dude all around. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Question of the night: what has surprised you most about this series so far? Edmonton up 2-1, looking to take that 3-1 stranglehold. We do have Ryan Holt, Condors play-by-play voice, coming up shortly. He'll give us an update on Bakersfield. They did lose last night. They are out, losing in 2 games to the Ontario Reign, the Kings farm team. And we've seen Philip Broberg and Jack Campbell recalled from Bako today. Also in the Nasty chat. What's going on over there, Nasties? You guys doing good? Matt Hyman says PLD was a first-line center over Scheifele at times last season. Guys like that, you must have played with a lot of guys that had all the skill in the world, all the tools, and then just didn't want to put it together, couldn't put it together. What was it?
It's a hard one to answer because there's so many different people out there. There's lots of different things that make guys tick. And, for him, maybe he's just relied on his natural ability for so long that now when times get tough, he just kind of sinks back into it.
That's not good.
It's tough. It is what it is, I guess. But, I mean, it's disappointing because he's such a good talent.
I know. And he has shown he can be a good player.
When he got drafted to Columbus, people were like, okay, well, obviously they changed the narrative towards Puljujarvi, but at the end of the day, Columbus thought they had a player that was going to be their number one center.
Yeah.
He didn't like Columbus. When that broke out, I don't think anybody was surprised because Columbus so far in the league is on a lot of no trade clauses
In 24 years.
right?
Yeah.
So I get that part. But then he moves to Winnipeg, which is a hockey mad city. They've got a really good team. He can be a really good piece there. It doesn't click.
Right.
Well, why? What's
His
going
dad's
on?
an assistant coach in the organization.
And so that's where you start to wonder, like, what's going on with this guy? Does he like it? Where's he at? But I don't know. To sum it all up, it's super disappointing, and who knows what's going on in his world.
Someone, a simple 101 in the nasty chat on YouTube says, let's hope Dubois finds his game in the offseason.
Yeah, let's hope he finds his golf game.
There you go. 780-218-9999. You can text us, and then you can get in at the nasty chat if you are watching on the EST YouTube channel. Tom Gazzola, Shawn Belle, live on location, Hudson's White Avenue. Starting to pick up in here.
Yep.
We've got GCs come by, say hello. We'll hook you up with something, buy you a beer, buy you a little something. And then they do have 6 o'clock or lager in cans here, as it is an EST watch party. Of course, the Oil Stream pregame show brought to you by GCL Diesel. GCL specializes in giving your diesel engine's heart a second win. We test and remanufacture fuel injectors, pumps, and turbos for a wide range of applications, breathing new life into vital components. Our next guest is ready to go all the way down in Bakersfield, California. He is the one and only Ryan Holt, play-by-play man for the Bakersfield Condors. Hello, Holty. What's up, pal? How you doing?
What's up, Tommy? How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to have you on. I feel like I missed out on having you on more throughout the season, and that's my bad. I apologize.
You never have to apologize to me. I'm just happy to be called up for the playoffs, so we're good.
We got to get you up here again. Now, Keith Gretzky brought you up here. What was it, last season? You had a good time up here, didn't you?
I saw the JW, and that was about it. So I think I have more of Edmonton to explore on my next trip. So
hey,
I think we're going to have to get up there for the playoffs for sure.
You would have a great time tonight here at Hudson's for a watch party with all of us here. So, all right, we're glad to have you on board, and we do want to get an update on the Condors. I know the season came to a close, and that's tough, but give us a sense of how things went against Ontario, and then, break down the season for us as a whole from your point of view.
Yeah, I think Ontario was playing the best of anybody in the second half of the year. Marco Sturm has that team playing very good hockey. They had the best record in the second half of the season. We knew it was going to be a tough test. Just the best of 3 series in an opening round. That was always going to be difficult. And I thought the Condors, on the whole, I think it was kind of an embodiment of kind of the season. I think, we lacked that depth scoring. I think throughout the course of the year, you had the big dogs, if you will, the Griffiths and the Lavois and the Petersons of the world really came to the forefront. But in a short series, you really needed kind of that depth in scoring. And that's what Ontario got with guys like Tyler Madden and Andre Lee and Akil Thomas, being that secondary scoring for Ontario. It wasn't the case for Bakersfield, and the season comes to an end sooner than we would have liked. Everything was pretty tight in the Pacific this year. 2 through 7 was separated by 3 wins. The other 2 teams that were on the road in round 1, Abbotsford and Calgary, they both upset the 2 and the 4 seeds. So that just shows you how tight it was in the Pacific this year. I thought some guys took a step forward, which was great to see. Obviously, we don't have a ton of draft picks in the organization for a good reason, because that's the reason why the Oilers are so good right now. We don't have many draft picks to pick from. So we are an older leaning team, but I think it creates a lot of opportunity as well, too. And I think you saw that throughout the course of the season. We had very good goaltending, very good defensive core. And at the end of the day, just didn't have enough offense down the stretch, I thought, to be able to get us over the hump.
Ryan, you mentioned some guys stepping up. Who were those guys in particular? Were some of the young guys that are supposed to be the quote-unquote future of future Edmonton Oilers, were those some of the guys that were stepping up? I do think a lot of fans would love to know, that the cupboards are solid.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, right? Because there hasn't been really the first round picks the last couple of years, so you haven't been able to lean on those guys. You look at Dylan Holloway and Xavier Bourgault as kind of the 2. Bourgault's season probably under his expectations. I think he would even admit that. He dealt with some injuries, especially in the second half of the season. I don't think he ever found his footing this year. That being said, some other guys took, I thought, a step. Raphael Lavoie with 28 goals. He did what he was supposed to do, I think, this year. Whether that lands him on the roster next season, I'm not sure. But I think he did what he could do at the AHL level this year. He was top 10 in goals. That's his name. That's his game, right? Scoring goals, putting the puck in the back of the net. That's what he did this season. I thought Max Warner was a revelation, I thought, on the back end. Is there stuff to clean up in his game? Absolutely. He's a 20-year-old defenseman, 21-year-old defenseman playing against men in the American Hockey League. But I think his size, his skating, I think with a little maturation for him, I think he's an arrow that's pointing upwards for this team, and I think that's a positive sign. I thought Jaden Grube came out of nowhere and had a very good season, especially without Noah Philp being in the organization. And I know Noah is, planning on coming back, I think, next season. But, I think when you look at Jaden Grube, he finishes as kind of a checker down the middle, a good face-off guy, a guy who learned from guys like Malone and McKegg, and he was an elite penalty killer for this team. So I think there's some prospects there that have, kind of surprised things, and it maybe not the names that you maybe would expect, I think, going into this season. And then, of course, Ollie Rodrigue between the pipes, I don't think he gets enough credit. I really don't. And he's a second-round pick, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he has been in a bunch of different roles, both as Stuart Skinner's understudy and as a number one goaltender basically for all of the season.
How was Marc Lajoie when he came down? Did he have an opportunity? He's a guy that's a big body. He's a defenseman that had put up a ton of points in the WHL in his final year. He's obviously an Edmonton product. So I do think that there's a little bit of questioning on what to make of his first foray into the pro world.
Yeah, I think it was great for him to be able to get into a game at the end of the season. He took on Henderson, and I thought, acquitted himself nicely. I thought in that one game that he was able to play. We've been deep defensively all year long. You look up and down between Broberg and Kemp, Deneen, Warner, Niemelainen, Hoffenmeyer, Gleason. The list goes on and on back there. So for Lajoie to be able to get into a game, I thought was big. And I think him being around the team for a month really gave him a good sense of what the pro game is like. Yeah. And the one thing that we've always stressed in Bakersfield, especially nowadays, is opportunity, right? There's no first-round picks. There's nobody coming in next year that already is kind of slotted in and said, hey, listen, you're the first-round pick. You're getting these minutes. You're getting these opportunities. That's not the case. So for free agents, for guys that are on that tweener, guys like Lajoie, there's opportunity here. And it's hard not to look at guys like Vinny Desharnais, guys like Phil Kemp, Max Warner, late-round draft picks that have come in and made an impression. Michael Kesselring, I know it's with a different organization, but there's opportunity at all levels of this organization. And it might not be what you expect. You might not have to get an NHL deal off the hop, but an AHL deal, work your way up. And you look at Vinny Desharnais now. I saw him Friday night down in LA. It's just a great success story.
Yeah.
Ryan Holt joining us now, voice of the play-by-play voice of the Bakersfield Condors, as we roll along the Oil Stream pregame show brought to you by GCL Diesel. Holty, a couple of guys I'm curious about: Matvei Petrov, Carter Savoy. How did they develop? How did things go for them? I know you touched on Bourgault a little bit as well. I'm glad you brought up Rodrigue, but Tulio was another name that people during rookie camp and training camp here around Edmonton are always keeping a keen eye on. What can you say about those guys?
Yeah, and the guys you mentioned, again, late round draft picks, right? You're hoping that these guys become very good at the American Hockey League level. And if they can get to the NHL, it's found money. Look at James Hamlin, undrafted AHL contract, NHL deal, and ends up playing in the National Hockey League and plays considerable amount of time up there. That's found money. Carter Savoy, I thought, had a very nice season. I think out of that bunch, Carter Savoy, I thought, took a step forward this season. He battled a ton of injuries this year, as did Ty Tulio early on this season. But I thought Carter Savoy started to round out his game as this year went along. Matvei Petrov, I think, has a bright future, and I'm excited for him, much in the way I was excited for Bourgault going into this season. Can Petrov take another step? This was a 20-year-old kid who dominated in the OHL, and he was going up against men this year. and I thought got better in the second half of the season. After Christmas, took a step. Unfortunately, had a knee injury at the end of the season, wasn't able to play in the playoffs. But that being said, I think he has an opportunity next year, especially, like I mentioned, nobody's coming into the organization. He's going to be a guy that's looked upon moving forward as a guy who, let's face it, we need you to score. We need you to make plays. We need you to put pucks in the back of the net. So, again, all three of those guys back in the organization, Tullio especially, they're going to have to be big guys and big contributors into the team next season.
You're laughing because a guy wearing an Bakersfield, not Bakersfield, Oklahoma City Barons jersey just walked in. He, OG Oklahoma City Baron over here.
Come get all the
he
gifts.
got excited.
Come all get all the GCs, buddy.
Yeah.
Is it Curtis Hamilton? Is Curtis Hamilton in the box?
Wow,
no,
that was
he's
unreal.
in Kelowna.
Yeah.
Okay, Holty, tell us about Jack Campbell's season, because when he got sent down, obviously his game was a mess, and people were saying around here, "Oh, he'll be back up with the Oilers in 2 weeks. He'll be back up with the Oilers in 2 weeks." And I was like, "Hold on, tap the brakes." And he just was recalled to be a Black Ace. How was his demeanor down there? How did his game evolve? What can you say about the work Jack Campbell did down in Bakersfield?
I can't speak more highly of him. Obviously, an extremely difficult situation for him to be in, right? Just because of his contract, just because of his status, his pedigree at the NHL level. I mean, this was an all-star 2 years ago. You could have went one of two ways, and I thought he struggled early, those first 3 or 4 games in Canada when we were on the trip. When he was first sent down, Ken Holland kind of mentioned, hey, let's, if we had to do it over again, we probably wouldn't have had Jack play those games, maybe give him a week or break, kind of reset things mentally. Since that point, he was a top 5 goaltender in the American Hockey League. 923 save percentage, I think, since that point, he finished with, I think, a 919. He couldn't have asked for anything more out of him on and off the ice. Pleasure to be around. He really fit in with the group, I thought. I think he assimilated nicely and wanted to be here and wanted to help the team win. And at the end of the day, too, I think he recognized his role, too, of, hey, Ollie Rodriguez here as well. It was a tandem all year. He could have pouted. He could have, griped and moaned. He didn't. He had a positive attitude. He had a smile on his face all the time. Just a joy to be around. And,
Nice.
I don't know what happens in the future. That's not my call, but he was a pleasure to be around this year. And he helped us win a lot of big games.
That's good to hear. All right, do you want to ask him about this one?
Yeah, Brad Malone is retiring, former teammate of mine. I know he's a fantastic human. What kind of impact did he have on the franchise, and what do you potentially foresee for him in hockey down the road?
Yeah, first off, Brad's contributions are huge for us. For the last 7 years, he was the most recognizable Condor here in Bakersfield. And I think it's interesting because when he started, he was a tweener, right? Mm-hmm. And he was still up and down with the Oilers. He still had that NHL quote-unquote dream. He was still up with Edmonton for a good chunk. Then he came to Bakersfield basically full-time for a couple of years. And then post-COVID, when Jay Woodcroft goes back up, he ends up getting back up there. Right. And 7 years later scores an NHL goal. And his role in the organization changed throughout the course of his tenure. He mentored a lot of guys. You hear guys, going back to Kyler Yamamoto and his impact in getting Yamo to the NHL, and Vinny Desharnais and Stuart Skinner, Ryan McLeod. Brad is our captain for a reason. He's going to be deeply missed here in this organization. But I think he's passed the torch nicely. Seth Griffith's in the organization now, Lane Peterson, Cam Denis, Ben Gleason, Drake Gazzola. That's kind of the next wave of leaders now. And I think Brad's been able to establish the culture and now pass the torch. As for what's next, he wants to stay in hockey. I think he's made that point clear. He wants to stay in the organization. He wants to, be on the player development side or the scouting side or some sort of role like that as well. So I can't speak highly enough about him. He's a good friend of mine, but also, he's been a great colleague of mine for the last 7 years. And, we're going to miss him here in Bakersfield. And I'm sure he'll be popping back and forth from time to time. So certainly not the last chapter in his hockey book, I don't think. But it was a great night to be able to honor him the last regular season game, and then obviously emotional last night when we finally tied the chapter and finished out his career.
Holty, very well said. Very well said. Last one for you. we're going to get ahead of ourselves a little bit. When the Young Stars Classic happens in Penticton in September, who are a couple of guys that you would tell Oilers fans to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, and I think it goes back to Petrov. I think we kind of talked about it. Him and Warner, I think, are the next step. Those are guys going into year 2. I think Jaden Grube is primed for a big year 2. That's a positive for this organization. Those are 3 21-year-olds. And I know we have some older guys, Noah Philp and Cameron Wright, who, have kind of made an impact at various points, going into next season, but they're going to be big pieces, I think, moving forward, especially up front. But Warner's the big one, I think. I truly think that. I think he has a bright future ahead of him. And I don't think he gets to the NHL on his entry-level deal, and I don't think you need him to. But I think at 23, 24 years old on his second deal, he's a big, confident type of player on the back end. And I'm excited about him moving forward. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of free agent signings. There's going to be a lot of guys that they're going to have to look at out of junior because, as I mentioned, there aren't draft picks.
Right.
I don't think Boakey's not eligible next year to play in the American Hockey League. I don't believe. I think he was a younger draft pick. So I think he goes back to junior as well. So Jake Chason's a guy who played the entire season in the ECHL. So that's another name that's going to be fighting for a roster spot next year in the AHL. And, you look at what we're replacing. We're replacing a lot of veterans. Brad Malone, likely Greg McKegg get out of the organization. Some other veterans will come into the organization, but there's going to be a lot of opportunity for guys in year 2, and then also free agents that might be a little bit further down the road a little bit that are looking for an opportunity.
Restocking those cupboards. Holty, thank you for the breakdown. Awesome to see you, and be well, my friend, and we'll chat soon, okay?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
There is Bakersfield Condors play-by-play voice, Ryan Holt. Great stuff from him. Nice breakdown. See?
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Max Warner
Yep.
and Matt Petrov, the 2 guys he's saying to keep an eye on. I wasn't going to say what he was on, but, he's surprised he didn't say Borgo. I don't think he would forget Borgo if...
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
That's an interesting one.
Maybe it's just the fact that he didn't quite take that step that everybody's been expecting him to, because I do think he is going to be an important part of the Oilers' future, and you want to make sure that he's, getting the minutes that he needs, being able to play in every situation. So it's a little surprising, but at the same time, hey, when other guys are taking a step, you want to give them recognition too.
Right, fair point. Well said, Bells. And you went through. You know what it's like, grinding it through after your draft year. Maybe did you play a couple of years of junior after that, or did you go straight to pro?
I played 2 years junior,
and then you went to pro. Okay, yeah. So. Good update there from Ryan Holt, Bakersfield Condors play-by-play man, and good friend of mine, and Belzies as well. You really got excited when the Oak City jersey walked in.
You never see that.
I've seen a few of them around town. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen a few.
I'm surprised I haven't seen a Cassian one because apparently he's still vacations there.
He does vacation in Oklahoma City.
That?
Well, Maddie does.
That's like going for a vacation to Fort Mac. It's the same thing.
I'm not saying anything.
The only difference is that you're not going to freeze to death there. You just get swallowed up by a tornado.
Yeah, well, that does happen.
Are you kidding me? That's why I was so excited. You just don't see that up here.
Well, I mean, if that is
a white practice jersey.
Well, basically, those were the worst Oilers uniforms / Oklahoma City Barons uniforms that they ever had. It was the one that the stripe that has the gap in it and then the piping down the side. Yeah. Anyway, I'm surprised that guy hasn't come up to you and be like, I wore this today because I need you to sign it.
I'm not signing that. I won't even sign that.
Why?
No. I don't want to be part of that history.
Why? They were
the worst
good teams.
jersey ever.
Lieutenant Eric Lloyd kisses. That was not the. I mean, that was a good team. You had some good players on
actually
this.
Really good.
Yeah, I know. Good group of guys. So, but that's funny. Oklahoma City Barons jersey in the house here at Hudson's White Avenue. Tom Gazzola, Shawn Belle with you. Big thank you to Dennis Bernstein and Ryan Holt for stopping by on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. If you're not doing anything, come on down. There's some tables available. Yeah, it's starting to fill up a little bit.
Tommy's taking song requests today.
I am not the DJ.
Tom.
I am not the DJ. They have my reserve thing, and if you're watching, I wrote not the DJ because on Friday I had multiple girls coming up to me saying, "Can I request this song?" Or they would show me their phone with the song title, and I'm like, "This is a radio show. Anyway,
Maybe they're so drunk they thought this was a turntable.
they clearly did. They
Because
clearly
that's
did.
a new button.
Hit it. There you go. That's if you don't want to
There it
swear.
is.
There you go. Yeah. Spinning the ones and twos. Let's go to this text from Displaced Yukon. It says the Oilers win big tonight. Red light Riddick gets pulled. Book it. Safety Bob texting and says, I have 2 tickets to the watch party if you want to give them away. Safety Bob, how would we do that? Text in 780-218-9999 if you want 2 tickets to the watch party from Safety Bob.
And you have
And
to come down to pick them up.
I'm assuming that they're a digital ticket. So just text in and we'll connect you to Safety Bob. Mike in Thunder Bay says, I'm already so sleepy. Work is going to suck tomorrow. Yeah, Mike in Thunder Bay. That's going to be a 10:50 start for you. My goodness. Timber Woodsman says, how the hell is there still an hour to puck drop?
Okay.
And then another text says, can you play me a song? No. The answer is no. Absolutely not.
There's no entry fee to Hudson's either.
No entry fee. Come on down. 6 o'clock or lager available in can form. And we do have GCs and some decals, as I like to say, and lanyards and good stuff. And take advantage. So Safety Bob has 2 tickets to the watch party. If anybody wants them, text us 780-218-9999. I will put you in touch with Safety Bob. And in the meantime, you know what, Belsey? We're going to go inside the Oilers locker room again before we get to the Game Changer segment. So we're going to go inside the Oilers locker room, and we're going to hear from the guy who's getting back into the lineup, Derek Ryan.
One way or the other, just the importance of this game and trying to take it home for the chance to close it up.
Yeah, I mean, they're all big. Game 3 was huge as well, trying to get that 2-1 advantage. So, yeah, I think this is an opportunity for us to come out and the first 10 minutes, really keep it simple and let them know that it's not going to be easy.
Yourself getting back in the lineup, I guess, how does it feel? Haven't seen from up top and now getting back in there. How are you feeling? Yeah,
feel good. Obviously, it was my job to stay ready and stay prepared to go in, and excited for the opportunity, excited to be back with the guys and get to play.
When you see the game from up top, I know a lot of people, when they see the game from up top a couple times, they say, it looks a lot like you have more time than you do when you do downstairs, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you take anything out of there?
Yeah, that's definitely the cliche. I mean, you go up there and the game slows down. I think I've played enough games. I know what I need to do to be successful, so just trying to add that element to this team, help the team in the depth department a little bit, and face-offs, penalty kill, whatever, momentum builders, whatever can happen. So, prepared to go out and do that in battle.
You guys are really winning the special teams battle. I guess penalty kills have been outstanding. Yeah. What have you seen from it, and what kind of run adds are at this, like tonight?
Yeah, I think the guys have done a really good job running their routes to perfection, good sticks, taking away a lot of their options they're looking for. And, when you have a PK that can skate and push you, it makes it hard.
All right, Derek Ryan getting into his first taste of playoff action. These playoffs, and if you're Derek Ryan and you're getting in here, Belsey, are you chomping at the bit? How do you think he's feeling going into this one? What's his focus?
He's ready to go. That guy's he's a veteran hockey player. He knows what's going on. He knows that he's going to make the impact that he does.
Right.
That's not the impact that McDavid does. He's a guy that's going to come in. He's going to be smart. He's going to take away stick lanes. He's going to be on the PK.
Yep.
He's going to get in on the forecheck. He's tenacious. So I'm excited for him. This is an opportunity to potentially get another game.
Yep.
Depending on how you play. So he's going to be ready to go. I don't see any drop off coming outside of maybe a little bit of physicality.
Fair point. Derek Ryan centering Dylan Holloway and Matthias Janmark. We do have one more bit of audio from the Oilers side to get to. Let's hear from Adam Henrique playing on the top line with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman.
For a day off and what you did.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, it was good. It was great to get home. Went to gymnastics, so that was good. But no, I'd lucky to be playing here and able to get home and see the family, and certainly a personal morale boost to be home and around everybody.
Can you speak to having a day just off? You know, you happen to have some family, but it didn't matter kind of who you were,
Yeah.
who you had around, just to be kind of clear in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think just in general, it's gives everybody a chance to kind of almost take a breath, to reset the mind, and you know, a lot of recovery goes into those days, especially now, just playing every other day, and what each game kind of entails for everybody. So I think just a good day for everybody to get a lot of recovery, and you know, lucky for me, our situation, which is nice to just get home and be around the family and the girls. So you know, a good day, but then it's right back to work. Everybody knows what's on the line for us.
Game 4s are always so pivotal. You know, either the series can go big switch, I guess, swinging the series. Just your thought on tonight and the opportunity you guys have.
Yeah, you know, again, I think for us, it's you know, our mindset playing with desperation right from the start, right from the drop of the puck. I thought we did a good job of that again last game. So I think for us, that's a big key, getting off to a good start and you know, trying to impose our game on them. They're certainly going to come out the same way and hard, and it's going to be a challenging game, but you know, one we're certainly up for the challenge for.
Is it a bit of a do-over for you guys? You got to jump on them in game 1. You didn't show up the way you wanted to in game 2. You got another jump on them. Is it a chance to do this right?
Yeah, you know, like I said, you know, key for us getting off to a good start, getting to our game and getting to that attack. You know, I think for us when we do that, puts us in the best position for the rest of the game. You know, having a good start is always key, and you know, that game 2 where you start battling from behind and trying to push, and sometimes things can open up. So I think for us, just key to get off to a good start, and that's our main focus, and then build from there.
That defensive game that you guys laid down last game, game 3, I know that's where you're trying to get. Repeating that, is that the sort of what this team's trying to pull off here?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I guess each series teams make adjustments on the fly and game to game, and you know, trying to throw different looks at each other and that sort of thing. But again, I think for us, the key, getting off to a good start and then being smart all over the ice. You know, not being too much on the offensive side where you give up defensive chances and that sort of thing. So, you know, I think for us, just a key to play a complete 60 games.
It might seem obvious looking at the numbers, but what role have special teams played in this series?
I mean, they're always big, I think. You know, it's a big part of our game, power play and penalty kill, and I think both have done a good job. And again, just when you get those opportunities, go out there and try and take advantage of them or swing the momentum in games. And that can be on both sides too, power play and penalty kill.
We know that the power play's always been pretty good here in Edmonton. Penalty kill since you've been here, what strides do you think it's kind of taken? How have you seen it kind of grow, I guess, in the last little while?
Yeah, I mean, I think just really bearing down, you know, taking every opportunity to push. I think we have a good rotation of guys that are great penalty killers, and I think that's big this time of year, being able to roll out, you know, maybe 3 units. You know, face-offs is a key part of that, and able to put out lefties and righties depending on the situation, that sort of thing. So, you know, I think we have a good mindset going into the kills, and there's certainly key aspects of each game.
There's Adam Henrique, a little bit of time at home, visiting his family. He went to gymnastics yesterday.
Oh, that's nice, eh?
Yeah. Is Evie in gymnastics yet?
She's not in gymnastics yet, but we did a class last week that was very similar to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just flipping around, running all over the place. So I get it.
Yeah.
Nice reset.
Yeah. So there you go. Congratulations, by
Thanks,
the way,
buddy.
on another one on the way. The Belle family continuing to grow. Congrats to you and Lindsay. Well done, sir. And Evie's a cutie, and then a boy on the way.
Boy on the way.
He's going to be a bull. He's going to be a bull.
I hope so.
An athlete that's really sharp, and I look forward to seeing how he grows up, because he's got a great mom and dad and a great older sister for sure. Congrats, Bellsy. Good job,
buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. 780-218-9999. If you want to go to the watch party tonight, Safety Bob is offering up 2 tickets. Text us 780-218-9999, and we will put you in touch with Safety Bob. Chief Andy says Henrique needs the Backscape promo code. Hello 10. Hello 10. 10%
yes,
off. Well, we've got some extra Backscapes to dish out.
We do. We have a couple Gen
Adam.
1s, yeah.
This is from Shawn and I.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can do that for him. But he's actually a really good guy. Did you ever cross paths with Adam Henrique?
No. Never did, unfortunately.
He's great to chat with for sure. All right. You want to get into Game Changers now?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. We're going to go to Game Changers with Shawn Belle. Brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven. Damon understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, damonbunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, Bellsy, as we listen, there's my brother. Hello, Doof. Hello, Mike. Good to see you. Good to see you. Number one, first 10.
First 10, there's been lots of people actually alluding to it already. Henrique was just talking about it. Game 2, your first 10 minutes wasn't very good.
No.
You actually gave up the lead. LA was able to kind of put their will into the game, and they ended up winning the game.
Yep.
You know that LA is going to come out. You know this is going to be a do-or-die situation for them. It is not a Game 7, but the mentality of a Game 7 is going to be there. So if you are the LA Kings, you need to come out and throw the kitchen sink at the Oilers. Mm-hmm. But the Oilers, you're not weathering the storm. I don't want you to weather the storm. I want you to come out, and I want you to dictate the pace of play and say to the LA Kings, we're not playing your style. You're playing our style. You're going to keep up to us. We've got the horses, and we're just going to continue to go. Because if you can do that and you can dictate the pace of play, well, we already know, we've already talked that they're a step ahead of the LA Kings. So the first 10 minutes, in my opinion, is extremely crucial to the outlook or the outcome of this game.
Are you at all concerned, speaking of like getting that tone set and the Oilers dictating the pace of the play, are you concerned at all by the Oilers and their mindset going into cruise control too early? Because they did that in Game 2. They've done it at times this season.
It's something that's been synonymous with this team for quite some time.
Yeah.
But I think they realize the magnitude of this, and if they want to finish off the LA Kings as soon as possible, well, you know that they need to get this game. Yeah. You go into LA and you take 2, that is demoralizing, and that's what you want. You don't want to extend this game to 6. You don't want to give it a chance for 7. You want to take care of business right now and then come back home to a raucous crowd and seal the deal. That's what you have to do in this first 10 minutes of this game, making the LA Kings chase you guys all around the ice, and you just continue to move pucks and do all the things that you need to do. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to have a successful trip.
Number one, first 10 minutes. Number 2, special teams. This one, it goes without saying, Bellsy.
Yeah, it goes without saying. Right now, the Oilers are humming along at 50% on the power play. They're at 100% on the PK.
Yep.
I'm knocking on wood right now because I don't want anything to change. Hey, if LA wants to be undisciplined, go ahead, be undisciplined. Because what we're going to do is we're going to continue to put the puck in the back of the net. And when that happens, we win hockey games. Pure and simple. We kill the penalties that we take. We want to make sure that we're disciplined. We're taking away lanes. We're forcing to the outside. We're not giving these guys any opportunity to get clean looks at the net or to have those seam passes that they look for. We're going to put them under duress at every opportunity on the PK. And when we do, we're going to get the puck out right away. So we're not going to make those mistakes. There's no mental mistakes. Everything that we do and everything that we give up, this team needs to earn. LA needs to earn, and that's how you're going to win the game.
Special teams, number 2. It is Game Changers with Shawn Belle, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Number 1 was first 10. Number 2, like I said, special teams. Number 3, when I saw he was starting, I was like, oh, okay, interesting. So number 3, new goalie, no problem, Bellsy.
David Rittich, well, we already know what he's all about. We know that the history with him. It's been a situation where there's been back and forth between him and the Oilers all the way back to 2016 when he raised that stick in the air. He flipped the stick in the air, I think after shootout. And ever since then, it has been all business with this guy. You don't change your game plan, but now you're going to take a little bit more personal because you know this isn't a former teammate that you liked.
Right.
This is a guy that has come at you before. He's made his comments. Hey, let's go take it to him. We're going to play our game, and we're going to light this guy up.
Vinny Vertigo appropriately says, no mental mistakes. And I think, and they're showing David Riddick on the broadcast as I'm reading this, and you're talking about him. So there's the SD glue guy, Jay Milton. What's up? What's up? There we go. So this is going to be interesting. And you talk about a guy that they liked. It was Cam Talbot. They liked him. They lit him up in 3 games. They burnt him for 17 goals. So they're going to try David Riddick. We'll see how it goes.
He had a shutout against them. So obviously they feel like there's a little bit of success there.
Yeah.
And that was the only time they beat the Oilers this season. But, hey, when I see him and I'm Draisaitl or I'm McDavid, I'm saying, hey, it's personal.
Let's go.
We don't forget the stuff that you pulled off when you're in Calgary. And we just did that to our buddy. Okay, let's kick this into high gear now.
Regular season versus the Oilers. Riddick through 13 games, 5-5 record with 1 OT loss, a 273 goals against average, 904 save percentage with that shutout that Belsey was talking about. Lifetime in the playoffs, just in general for Riddick. He's played in 2 games, 15-17 goals against average, a 636 save percentage. So doesn't have the repertoire in the postseason. The Kings are going to try something, desperation mode, whatever you want to call it. They're going to David Riddick. So that was Game Changers. First 10, special teams, new goalie, no problem. Belsey, great stuff on Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. We have heard from the Oilers. I think now it's only fair that we go into the Kings locker room. Yep. Let's hear from head coach Jim Hiller. No, maybe not. Trev, do we have Jim Hiller?
Next question. No. You know what, Dennis? We are. Yeah, I will tell you that. David's going to go, and we feel good about that. I thought Cam did a good job. That's not it. David's played really well for us. Played well against Edmonton. We'll give him a go.
How do you, like, for a guy who hasn't played for a little bit, then for David, like, when do you let him know what's the process to get him ready to go into a critical game like today?
Yeah, he's had some time between starts over the last probably 6 weeks. He's actually had to come in from the bullpen a little bit, so that part, is I'm not concerned about at all. But we let the goalies know yesterday. Just had conversations with them, let them know, and away we go today.
What not only what he's brought to you on the ice, what does David bring to the room? Is his personality?
Yeah, he's got a unique personality, and those who have been around here and asked him to talk to questions, he's not afraid to give you an answer. He's not afraid to tell you what he's feeling. So yeah, he's got really good energy. He's been a positive presence, even the times that he hasn't been in the net. I think he keeps the guys loose, and everybody enjoys his company.
For those that just don't pay attention every day whatsoever, you talked about it. He's done when called upon.
Right.
He's had a really good year.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself, that's got to instill and breed confidence.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, he's played very well, and I think the important part of it too is he's played well after he's had to sit for just a little bit. So he's still come in and he just does his job. Yeah.
Is this also a wake-up call, sorry, Jim, for the rest of the guys also to make a move like this?
No. It has nothing to do with the rest of the guys at all. No. It's really simple math. We lost game 1, we won game 2, we lost game 3. We're going to win game 4. You know what I mean? Outside of that, we're not going to overthink anything else.
Jim, the 5-on-5 scoring in the series is 10 goals for the Kings, 10 goals for the Oilers. How much confidence does the group have in those situations when you can keep this series at 5-on-5?
Yeah, I mean, that's good. We know that. We know the numbers. Their power play scored, which is the next question to this. Our power play hasn't. So that's got to change too. So it's even at 5-on-5. That's not something that we are proud of. We want to be ahead at 5-on-5, and we want to be ahead in the special teams too. Currently, we're not, but we'll make our adjustments and try and get that special teams battle to go in our favor tonight. It's an important part of the game.
Jesus. Oh boy, there you go. There's Jim Hiller. Cheers, Belsey.
Cheers, buddy.
Jay Milton, EST glue guy, like a good glue guy does, brought some 6 o'clocker lager over to us. They do have it here.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers to everybody who's come out tonight, and to everybody out there. Be safe, be good out there if you're going to the watch party. Do not mix it up and get in fights and stuff like that. Everybody love everybody. If you come on down, I do have some GCs to give you, 780-218-9999. If you've got a text that you want to send in, what are your thoughts about the series so far? Has anything surprised you? Also, Safety Bob, if anybody wants to go to the watch party down at Ice District tonight, he has 2 tickets that he is willing to give you. Text us 780-218-9999. We will put you in touch with Safety Bob. All right, let's go over the lines. And we should do out-of-town scores as well. So if you didn't catch it, the lines tonight, not much change, but there is a couple of little tweaks, one from each side of the ledger. For the Oilers, McDavid between Henrique and Hyman, Draisaitl centering Nugent-Hopkins, and Kane McLeod between Fogle and Perry. Derek Ryan slots in for Sam Carrick with Holloway and Janmark. On defense for the Oil, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with CC, Kulak with Desharnais. As for the LA Kings tonight, Anze Kopitar centering Quentin Byfield and Adrian Kempe. Philip Deneau between Trevor Moore and Victor Arvidsson. Blake Lizotte with Kevin Fiala and Trevor Lewis. And then Pierre-Luc Dubois centering the 4th line with Carl Grundstrom and Alex Laferriere. On defense for the Kings, Mikey Anderson with Drew Doughty. Vladislav Gavrikov with Matt Roy. Andreas Englund with Jordan Spence. Starting in goal tonight for the Oil, 25-year-old Stuart Skinner, 2-1 record this postseason, .331 GAA, .890 save percentage in 3 career playoff games. Lifetime in the postseason, Skinner a 7-7 record, .360 goals against average, .885 save percentage in 15 playoff games. And at the other end of the rink, as Dusty Nielsen just walks in, Belsey said it. New goalie, no problem. 31-year-old David Rittich getting the start instead of Cam Talbot. 13-6-3 with a .215 goals against average, .921 save percentage, and 3 shutouts in 24 games this season. Playoff record for Rittich lifetime, 0-2, 15-17 goals against average, .636 save percentage in 2 playoff appearances. So Belsey, the Oilers, like you said, are going to try to get to David Rittich, and they don't care what the past is. It's a little bit personal. He has a back and forth with the team, obviously. They're going to try to burn him like they did to Cam Talbot. Let's go out-of-town scores. Right now, the Rangers lead the Caps with 5 minutes remaining. 3-2 is the score in the 3rd period. You think this one's over?
I think it's over.
We got our first team out of the postseason.
That might be the first one out.
All right, and then Nashville was up 3-1 on the Vancouver Canucks, and the Canucks stormed their way back with Arturs Shilovs in net, 4-3 in OT. That's a huge win. 2 wins in Nashville for the Canucks.
I'm actually thoroughly impressed by that because I thought that was in the bag. I thought, okay, here's Game 7. It's written all over it, but they might be able to pull it off sooner than later.
How about the Canucks? 12 shots on net in Game 3.
It's crazy. I don't know what's going on here.
Incredible. Well, was it you or Cass that said that Preds don't have the horses? I think you were saying that. You get past that first line.
They don't have the horses, but they're a hard team to play against, and they grind you the game up. They keep coming at you. They forecheck like extremely hard, so you're consistently under duress. I thought this was going to be a better situation for Nashville, and you know what? Hey, Vancouver's doing some really, really good things, and we talked about on Hello Hockey, we want Vancouver. I would love to see the Oilers Canucks. I'm going to knock on wood again because you got to take care of business if you're the Oilers. But looking ahead as a hypothetical,
that'd be a good series.
That'd be an awesome series. I think both cities would be electric. They'd be trying to outdo themselves. As long as Edmonton doesn't try to replicate Vancouver and burn their city to the ground, we're all good.
Edmonton has some work to do still. Up 2-1 in this series, looking to go up 3-1. The Avalanche up 3-1 on the Winnipeg Jets after a 5-1 victory in Colorado today. Bye-bye Jets, or do you think that they have a little bit something left in them?
I think the Jets are done too.
Wow. So Colorado had all the answers for the Jets today in Denver earlier in the afternoon, and now the Jets' backs against the wall. 5 minutes left in the third period. 3-2, the Rangers lead the Caps in Washington. We'll see if there's a miracle there. All right, Bellsy, final words for you heading into Game 3 as the Oilers look to, or pardon me, Game 4, to look to take a 3-1 series advantage.
Just want to see a 60-minute effort. Stay out of the penalty box. Let the Kings be dumb if they would like to. Keep capitalizing on the power play. And at the end of the day, just make sure you bring it and don't take any lapses in the game. Because if you do that, the Edmonton Oilers are coming back to Edmonton to a raucous crowd, to a rowdy crowd,
Wednesday night,
to an electric crowd, and they're going to take it here in the city.
Pedal to the metal. The Oilers looking to go up 3-1 in game number 4. A huge thank you to Dennis Bernstein. Do we have any texts that we need to get to?
Watch parties?
Watch party. Okay, I'll connect you with, I will hook those up. All right. A big thank you to Dennis Bernstein as well as Ryan Holt, Bakersfield Condors play-by-play man. Come on down to Hudson's White Avenue. Bellsy and I will be here all night long. Dusty Nielsen, Jay Milne, Lieutenant Eric, Matt Owanek, Zach Decum are all here. My brother's here. Bax is here. It's going to be a great time. Hudson's White Avenue watch party. For YouTube Trev and Shawn Belle, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks for tuning in. Ciao for now.